Ain't that funny? Ain't that funny that the White House has the time and the effort to make certain claims about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial as it is wrapping up. Meanwhile, they have a very obvious rift going on between the president and the vice president because, yeah, they're really just trying to set up the succession plan because it's taken a little bit shorter time than they really budgeted for. It really does suck to see. So, hey, Jen Psaki, looks like, yeah, thankfully she recovered from her scare from the coup. Thank God. Just in enough time to reject claims that Kamala is unhappy ahead of awkward bill signing with President Biden. Yeah, it was actually like really, really weird. Becoming more and more obvious how little these two people actually know each other and like each other. If you can't tell by the very, very organic videos they get posted just about weekly, especially the ones where you got old shambling ass Joe, hey, Kamala, for your birthday, I brought you some flowers. And then Kamala will somehow have to sell the shock ever organically of the entire organic situation, even though there's like a cameraman in her office waiting for the situation to unfold. But yeah, whatever. Okay, that's totally fine. But now it's starting to spill out into real life, and it's going to be getting a little bit more difficult to properly cover up. So look for another scandal to be happening very shortly. The White House said Monday that recent reports that Kamala Harris feels unhappy are not true and reflective of the vice president's relationship with President Joe Biden. What exactly is their relationship? Okay, because Kamala Harris at one point called Joe Biden a racist and wanted his sexual assault abusers to be heard, but then all of a sudden she got the number 2 on the ticket, and then hey, all of those concerns magically just went up in smoke. So much so that you should hear Tupac in the background. There have been a lot of reports out there, and they don't reflect the view of our experience with the Vice President. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said on Monday's press briefing, kind of, addressing her like she's an outsider. At least that's how I read it. That's kind of weird. The president relies on the vice president for her advice, for her counsel. She's somebody who's not only taking issues that are challenging. She's not looking for the cushy role here. No vice president is. No president is. Okay, well, can you tell us what the vice president has been up to? Because nobody can really seem to figure it out. She's somebody who's a valuable member of the team, adding that Harris will be on the road to promote the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, which is so popular that you have to go out on the road to promote it. But then again, Kamala Harris is about as popular as sudden infant death syndrome, so maybe sending her out on the road is probably not the best thing to do. But hey, best thing to do in this White House don't really go hand in hand that often. I asked at Monday's briefing if Harris would have Biden's automatic endorsement if she were to run for president. Psaki couldn't confirm that. That sucks. I don't have any predictions of whether she will run when she will run. She told Peter Doocy. Of course, he was the one who asked. I will leave that to her. Okay. Senior Biden aides came out to throw water on a CNN article published Sunday night with background from nearly 3 dozen sources. Holy fuck, okay. Suggesting the president has given up on Harris after a poll showed her approval at 28%. Yeah, likewise, she should also give up on Biden because his approval rating's at like 38%. So the White House rushed to the defense of Harris as her murky relationship with President Joe Biden has emerged, including claims aides are frustrated and the vice president is being sidelined. And then she just called them gossip and some other goofy shit like that. Don't really care. Do they got any fun pictures in here? Can we just move right along? Yeah, they're very rarely ever shown together, but Joe Biden's like not any more popular than Kamala, so I don't really know what the fuck any of them are talking about. It was a bad pairing. It was always going to be a bad pairing. That's why I always thought that this was a meme ticket, but hey, they're the duly elected and most popular people of all time, even though they can't even stand each other not but a year together, whatever. Vice President Kamala Harris feels increasingly isolated inside the White House as her approval ratings plummet. You'd think, okay, that was the way that apparently Joe Biden got duly elected as the most popular president of all time, was by campaigning on doing literally nothing. So I guess Kamala Harris thought that was a good strategy, that once you take the office, you could just just hide away and that the media will just say, oh, you're so wonderful for being the first, I don't know, the female of color vice president. And then you can just ride that success for 4 years. It's a little bit harder than that, sweetie. With the first female vice president believing she's not getting the same support given to other members. Could you imagine being that fucking pathetic? You're like a 50 or 60-year-old woman, and you constantly need to be reinforced that you matter. You're the vice fucking president of the United States. I don't get enough support. You don't do anything. It's hard to miss the specific energy that the White House brings to defend a white man. Of course, this comes from CNN. Knowing that Kamala Harris has spent almost a year taking a lot of the hits that the West Wing didn't want to take themselves. What? She doesn't get fucking labeled with anything, okay? She's supposed to be taken because she's the most competent and capable person I could put on the job. The southern border, which still hasn't been addressed. There's still migrants pouring over the fucking top of that wall. She's the one who's supposed to be in charge of looking after that, and she's doing a piss poor job of it. Nobody takes her to task for that, but okay. Former Harris aide told the CNN, yeah, right, which based its report on interviews with nearly 3 dozen insiders. The ex-staffer was referring to the Biden administration springing to defend Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg for taking, 2-3 months of fucking paternity leave. To be fair to Harris, she hasn't done anything that retarded, so that's why she hasn't needed the full court press when it comes to rehabilitation pieces. It hasn't been necessary for her yet. She hasn't fucked up on that level. Buttigieg is considered a potential challenger for Harris for the Democratic presidential nomination, either 24 or 28. That won't fly very well, mostly because old Mayor Pete wasn't liked that much when he was mayor of, I think it was South Bend, Indiana. Maybe that's just a description of his crank. Despite the public show of unity, Biden and his right-hand woman have a dysfunctional relationship that has reached an exhausted stalemate, according to the network. Okay, cool. At the time when the president would usually be expected to promote his vice president as a future replacement, Biden has instead been sidelining Harris as a potential liability, the report said. Interesting. Remember how popular she was during the presidential primaries in 2020? Oh, right, she couldn't even get a single point in national polling. Why would you hitch your, okay, Joe Biden is barely alive, but why would you hitch your wagon to a literal dead horse? Doesn't make any sense to me. For their part, Harris's allies are reportedly frustrated with the president for dumping politically fraught issues in her lap. You're vice president. You're supposed to be rising to the occasion on these situations, including, infamously, the ongoing illegal immigration crisis at the United States-Mexico border. They're consistently sending her out there on losing issues. No, it's not. If she would just do something, if she would at least present the appearance of going down there and applying some sort of a hands-on instead of her normal approach, a hands-job approach to tackling the crisis at the border, people would be a little bit more deferential to her. It's like, oh, she's trying at least. But then again, she's probably just not getting enough support to properly do it. They're consistently sending her out there, yes, on losing issues in the wrong situations for her skill set. What is her skill set? Vice presidential OnlyFans? Ugh, nobody wants that. The other aides say the vice president should have asked for better defined responsibilities at the start of the administration. That's actually fair. Okay, but has not done so out of fear of appearing disloyal to the president. That's a big cope right there. In March, Biden announced that Harris would lead the administration's talks with Mexico and Central American countries about slowing the tide of migrants crossing the United States border. That was the last time that we heard from her, when she was down there talking with, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, and the infamous "Don't Come," very Trumpian speech, but whatever. However, with the expectation of a rocky visit to Mexico and Guatemala in early June and a brief trip to El Paso at the end of that month, Harris has largely avoided the issue in public last month, while Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Attorney General Merrick Garland, and Homeland Security Chief Alejandro Mayorkas met with their Mexican counterparts on the issue. Harris was in New Jersey to promote Biden's multi-trillion-dollar social spending bill. She probably didn't want to go down there, to be fair. Because let's not get it twisted, she's also incredibly fucking politically savvy. How does somebody who has no discernible skill set, which they've alluded to there, get to the point where she's the vice president, literally a heartbeat away from one of the most frail individuals to ever hold such powerful office? Like, you don't do that just for sucking dick. Like, you gotta at least have a little bit of savvy. You gotta have a silver tongue in more ways than one. Insiders told CNN the West Wing has been especially bothered by Harris's handling of the border issue, the lack thereof, rather. The VP's trip to Mexico and Guatemala was overshadowed by a disastrous interview, which she provides whenever she's ever pressed on a topic. Thank God, at least for the media, they rarely get the opportunity, and they never really do when they are presented with it, to press her on an issue. Yeah, and that's the one where Lester Holt's like, do you ever plan on going down to the border? Well, I've never been to Europe. It'd be like saying, do you believe that there's a border crisis down at the southern border? And then saying, no, I believe in this Easter Bunny. What the fuck? Immigration advocates have also expressed disappointment in Harris. Fernando Garcia, executive director of Border Network for Human Rights, told CNN that he was optimistic Harris would take action, but she instead just disappeared. Yeah, that seems to be what everybody else is noting as well. I'd say she's not good at her job, but I don't even know what she's doing at her job. She doesn't even know what her job is. I've been talking about a very obvious civil war within the Democratic Party, and that Kamala Harris is probably using this as an opportunity to really marshal her forces. So I don't think that this CNN article or this report is any sort of independent journalism, and they're just really trying to get to the bottom of what happened at the White House or what is happening at the White House. This was mostly orchestrated by Kamala Harris's people, and you can get me down on the record for that. I believe that she had a lot to do with this, okay? Because information like that just doesn't come out from a bunch of different aides that are out there. And the fact that you have a lot of different, okay, and a lot of former people that were in the White House. Remember when, whenever Trump would let somebody go for a completely legitimate reason, it would make headline news? But you already have so many ex and former members of the White House, okay, and we're not even a full year into the administration. Just goes to show you a little bit more of that hypocrisy. So Kamala definitely had her hand in this, like she does with several other things. I don't know, I'm really starting to think that handoff right after the midterm bloodbath that's going to be happening. That's why she's keeping a low profile, because she's one person that can definitely read the room, and she knows that 2022 is looking like a complete and utter disaster that definitely dwarfs what's going on at the southern border. But with that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.